Hello, I'm Tracy Pierce. Thanks for joining me for this Live with the Animals video series. So this video series really was born out of what was happening here in the United States in March of 2020. The coronavirus is making itself very well known here. Lots of places going into shelter in place, lockdown kind of situations. And I just became really curious about what the animals thought about all of this, both the domestic inside animals and the animals outside, the wild animals. It just seemed like there was so much changing in the world. And I really wondered what the animals thought about all this. So many animals have come forward since I started this, and I thought it was going to be just a short-term project, but it's really turned into much more than that. And yeah, I've got, let's see, I don't know, I think we've done between 60 and 70 videos since March talking to different kinds of animals, and the last couple months I've really been focusing on more wild animals. But today we're actually going to talk to a goat friend of mine who I met recently. His name is Chip. Let me pull up his picture here. And it looks like Chip's human is joining us today as well. So Chip is a little goat, and he was born this year, and he lives out at the mother ranch. And let's see, oh yeah, I gotta make sure I have Chip's questions pulled up today too. And so Chip is in training to be a therapy goat. So Chip's owner had this idea that goats could be trained to do this. And so that's something she's working on with him right now. And he's still in training for sure. But we have some questions for Chip already I've got on my list here. But those of you who are joining us live, if you have questions for Chip, if you're on Zoom, check out the bottom of your Zoom there, and there should be a little button that says chat. Click on that, type in your questions. And if you're joining me on Facebook, then just type your questions into the comments. Okay, so I'm just gonna get quiet and start tuning into Chip and see what he would like to tell us today. He says, normally I'm very kind of sparkly and my energy, like I feel very energetic, but this has been a really rough week for me, he says. Yes, I was talking with Chip's human earlier, and both Chip's brother and father were moved to a different ranch earlier this week. So Chip's been separated from them. Is there something you want to tell us about that, them leaving, or how you feel about it, Chip? Well, I feel really discombobulated. I actually saw Chip a few days ago, and he's showing me him doing these kind of, it's like when he's in the pen with the other male goats, he keeps showing like knocking heads with this. There's two other goats in there. He was kind of knocking heads with a bit, and they're kind of harassing him a bit. It's just not, it wasn't so much fun for me. Are they still doing that, or what's happening right now, Chip? Well, right now at the moment, I'm feeling more calm. Okay, what else do you want us to know, Chip, about you or what's happening for you right now, or any requests you might have? So he shows himself kind of doing one of those, I call them like goaty hops, you know, how goats just, they kind of hop around and do their cute little goat things. So they hop around. It's like, I feel a little bit better today. I do feel a little bit down still, like I miss the other goats. I don't really like the other boy goats when we're in the pen together. So he's showing, there are enough goats at the ranch that I can't always remember all of their names. And they kind of come and go a little bit too. So he's showing, I think there's one other younger male goat. he's showing he gets along okay with that one. It's a smaller goat, but I think it's Poppy, and then that's the white and brown one, right? And then there's a black and white male. He's like, I don't get along with them very well. Okay. Do you feel like you would prefer to be in with the girls then? I think there might be an issue with that. I'm not 100% sure on the details of that, but do you have a preference, Chip, about where you are? I certainly like being in with the girls better. They have a gentler nature in general, he says. Um, there can be something very aggressive about the other boys. He says, yeah, there's just something in their energy that's much more aggressive and um, and when he's with the girls, it's there's something very softer. He's like, I can relax a little bit more. Yeah, well, we'll let Melissa know, and if that's possible, we'll see what can happen with that. I'm not sure what the details are there. But okay. So Chip, your human would like to know, what do you hope to do in this lifetime? Like, I am very interested in this goat therapy idea, he says. It's like I'm trying my best to do the things I'm supposed to do. I like I hear a clicker thing happening. I think clicker training is one of the things that you're doing with him, right, Melissa? Um, it's like he just shows himself kind of like come into a very straight position, like, oh, I'm trying to pay attention. I'm trying to be a good student. And I really, so he does show me images of like there is this hope that he can go into other places and like he shows me a nursing home to be able to go in and connect with humans. Is there like a specific kind of human that you want to do your work with, like elderly people or young people or anywhere in between, any kind of specific humans you want to work with? I do like the idea of working with older people. Um, can you show me that again, please, Chip? He said there's something about, um, like older people, they don't necessarily think of goats as being able to do this kind of therapy. And part of him kind of like, he imagines that he likes the look that they might have, like, wow, there's a goat, like they were expecting a dog or something to be coming in to do the therapy. And there's something that Chip kind of likes about, I'm a really different kind of animal that's coming in to do therapy. I'm very unique. um, yeah, he says, like, this is his opinion. He believes that older people have a different idea about what goats do and don't do. He's like, it would be very different to work with younger populations. Like they might be a little bit more just free and open about it. But there is something about, I hear the words shock value, and that's not quite 100% correct. Um, but it's more like Chipin has this idea that he would enjoy when older people see him and like, oh, you're a therapy animal? Wow, that's really interesting. I never would have thought of that. It's like being able to present a totally different side um, than than what they ever would have expected. Okay, cool. I'm taking a look for any questions or comments for Chip. Okay, Chip. So, um, do you feel like it's really only seniors that you want to work with, or are they just particularly interesting to you? Oh, I'm open to working with all different kinds of humans. Um, yeah, there's something about younger kids too that seems kind of cool because they would be so open to me. Um, we might have to really teach them how to not be grabby with me like kids and stuff. But no, there is an interest to like go anywhere that there might be an invitation or openness to having Chip as a therapy goat. He just shows his vision, kind of like this really wide spectrum of like, I could go over here, I could do my work over here. Like there's a lot of different ways I could do this. Okay, so Chip, your human wants to know, is that why you came into this life, or do you have another hope or purpose for this lifetime? So he's saying, well, it's not just about going out to places. He says, I do feel like my purpose in this lifetime does have to do with human connection, being connected to humans. And so that could happen in a therapy situation where you're taking me out to places, but also like when people come in, I'm open to like people coming into the ranch or into some place where they work with me. I do feel quite keen. It's almost, he keeps showing me, it's almost like if goats had a third eye, like, you know, kind of between his little eyes on his nose. He keeps showing me there is something, um, wow, he just keeps drawing me into that section of his head there. Like you can kind of, like this little black area, it almost looks like a little third eye or something that's pulling me in. Um, what is most important for me in this life is the work I'm going to do with humans. There is much more to goats and what they can do for people than just the stereotypical thing, this cuteness that we see with goats, you know, with goat yoga and, oh, they're so cute. And he's like, there is so much more to us than that. And that is part of what I want to bring. And he's like, okay, maybe the cuteness is sort of like the doorway in to bringing people into this deeper way of being with themselves. Um, he shows, so I bring them in with my cuteness, and then there's a certain way that I hold my heart, that I'm trying to connect my heart with their heart. And it's similar, he's almost he's comparing it to the way he's linking his heart to the way cats purr. There's a similar kind of link that happens. There's a soothing Chip feels that he brings to human hearts just by connecting with them in that way. And that's a big part of what I want to bring. And it doesn't matter if it's in a therapy situation or people coming to me, or even if it's just working with your family, Melissa. There's like this big thing of the heart connection and wanting to bring that into the world for connection with humans. Ooh, wow. Okay, so Chip, your human would like to know, how would you prefer to do your work? Meaning, like by being cuddled or just being free to walk among the people? Like, do you have a specific way or that you prefer to do this? It would be cool. Like he shows it being in a setting, like maybe you're in a room or something where he doesn't necessarily need to have the leash part attached. Like, okay, maybe he has to keep his harness on. But if it's like having the freedom to kind of walk around in this particular room. And it's like I can sense when I see the people who needs help and who I want to go to. Um, yeah, so there's a sense of like letting him kind of choose who he goes to. Yes, yes, and some people might need cuddling, but some people, or like they need to cuddle me. He feels like it's kind of individual to the person, and it's possible. Um, he says I really have to kind of tune in and see what the individual person needs, but I'm really open to being cuddled, like if that's what they need. Um, he says, I feel like, so he's kind of showing me the work that one of the other gals at the ranch there does with horses, and how, you know, she really just lets the horses kind of wander and do what they sense they need to do with the human. And Chip says, I really feel like I'm developing that ability as well. He shows himself watching the horses in in the other part of the pasture and really kind of watching what they're energetically doing. He feels like he's really lucky to be at the mother ranch to be able to learn. He says, yes, so there is this part of becoming a therapy goat where my human is teaching me all these things, but I'm also really learning a lot from the horses and watching what they do. And part of me is trying to kind of emulate that in some ways, that bigger power that the horses tend to do and have. Does that answer your question, Melissa? Let me know if it doesn't. Okay, so we have a practical question. And is it possible, Chip, for you to only pee and poop outside, or should therapy sessions be outside? Humans don't do too well with potty inside in therapy sessions. What do you think about that, Chip? It seems like he doesn't have a super amount of control over that. It just like, okay, it's time to poop and it happens. Um, he is showing like it's something similar to like what police horses might wear. You know, they have like a sort of diaper poop catcher thing. He's like, I'm not super excited about that, but I would consider wearing one if it allowed us to interact with more people. He said, otherwise, yes, sessions outside where I can just, you know, go, that's probably the best. Um, he says, so then, like, he's like, I didn't think of that. Sometimes I forget that humans have different pee and poop issues than I do. He says, so in that situation, he was showing, so he's kind of going back to like going to a senior center or something. And he's showing like, if you could be outside in, he's showing like those fencing kind of things that maybe just you make a small circle where maybe the senior could come and be in the circle in there so that there is some containment for him, for the goat, but also he's free to pee and poop as needed. Okay, cool. So it sounds like Melissa has those kind of fences, so that could definitely work, Chip. Okay, cool. All right, I think we had another question up here that I missed. Oh, what will Chip be doing as a therapy goat? Yeah, I think we're still trying to work that out. It's trying to figure out what would be the best things for Chip and what he could do. So we got another question coming in. Do goats ever wear diapers? This would work for seniors. Yeah, I don't know. I think there might be something like that. You know, I assume like they have things for dogs and there might be able to be something kind of made up or something. I'm not sure about that. I hadn't even considered some of these questions or things that Chip would have to deal with in being a therapy goat. So, yeah, cool. Yeah. Yeah. Melissa says, you know, she'll do a little research there. And yeah, it could also it could depend on the weather, you know, where, you know, once it gets to be winter, it might be more difficult to have outside sessions. But Chip, how do you feel about wearing one of those diaper kind of things? Yeah, like he says, like I said, I'm not super excited about it, but I'm willing to consider it if it would allow us to go to more places, especially seniors. He's like, I'm not so excited. Like if I had to wear one of those to go to a school or something, I'm less excited. I'd rather the kids come outside, especially with me. But in the sense with seniors, he says I'm definitely willing to consider that for seniors. So, Chip, your human would like to know, are there better ways for her to communicate with you that will help set you guys up for success, such as like better training or different training than you're receiving already? Well, he's asking if there is a way to bring more people out to the ranch for him to interact with. And he is asking for seniors. I don't know with COVID times how possible that is, but he is asking for more human interaction. Anything else like specific training techniques or? Okay, I kind of see this emoji like, huh? Is there anything else, Chip, that Melissa could do? Do you feel like there's different training techniques or something else you guys might need to work on together so that you can be with more humans? Or it's like I'm not thinking of anything. Okay, okay, okay. So he was born probably just a little bit before COVID started, right? He was just born at the beginning of this year, I think, right? So Chip, just to make sure you understand, things are a little bit different here in the world on the human side because of this coronavirus. And that's one of the reasons, you might see people wearing masks more, and, maybe eventually in your lifetime things will change, but it's just a little bit different, and it might be more difficult to bring humans out right now. It's like, yeah, just any humans would be fine. Um, okay, let's see. It's like, okay, there's kind of like this, it's almost like he's trying to comprehend a little bit. Yeah, well, this certainly wasn't anything humans expected, and we really don't have any idea when it might change. So things have just been really strange. Let's see here. I'm going to take a look here for other questions. I know we had a couple other questions for Chip that I know we wanted to get to for sure. Um, is there anything else you want to tell us about your brother and your father leaving? It's like, I do feel sad, but I understand how things change. And so I believe that Melissa was asking also about whether you wanted to stay at the mother ranch or whether you would be interested in coming to live with her outside. It would be an outside living situation, but it sounds like there's one other goat there. Huh, that kind of he doesn't give me a really clear answer on that, Melissa. He's like, oh, I don't know, because it's kind of like, which one would I have the most human interaction with? And he's also showing that right now he's watching the horses a lot and the work that they're doing and learning a lot from there. So he's like, I don't know if right away would be the best time for me to leave the mother ranch. Um, I still feel like there's quite a bit of work for me to do there. Um, learning, he's learning from the other animals as well. It's like, yeah, if there was just only one goat, I'm not sure that would be enough for me. Okay. It's like, I don't know that I'll always feel that way. Like, I feel like that could change as as I get older. Like, I might be more willing to come and live there later. All right. I think we got all of Melissa's questions, which I wanted to be sure to get. Um, So, Chip, would you like to be with the horses or closer more often during their sessions? He's like, yes, if that was possible, I would definitely be up for that. He's like, I can kind of feel what they're doing from a distance, but if it were easy and possible, I would definitely be interested to be able to observe the horses a little bit more closely. Cool. So one more question for you, Chip. Does the act of butting heads, is that a sign of affection? It says sometimes it is and sometimes it's not. Kind of depends on the intent with which it's delivered. He's showing me when I saw him the other day, one of the male goats was really kind of knocking him around, and it was like that was not affectionate whatsoever. That was more of like, screw you, get away from me. But he says he feels like when the girls do it with each other, it's more affectionate than when the males do it. That's his perception. Well, thanks, Chip. We've really gone over our time here today, but you've shared so much wonderful information with us. Thank you so much for being here with us today, Chip. And thank you so much to all of our live viewers and people watching this later. This video series has just been really fun for me to put together, and so much fun to talk to interesting animals like Chip here, who knew that goats could be therapy animals, right? So thanks again for joining me, and I hope you'll join me again sometime. I've got at least 6 weeks worth of animals lined up here for the future, so join me again anytime. Check out my YouTube channel for any of the recordings of the previous animals you've missed. I hope you'll join us again, and until next time, take care and be well.